I am Dr. Amarjit Kaur. I am Professor of Accounting and Certified Management Accountant. I am author of 8 books and 48 research papers. I work with Gurugram University, which is a Haryana state government university based in Gurugram. I am working in the Department of Management and Dean for Faculty of Commerce and Management. I am very happy to be here with you today to discuss GST and Purchase Return Book. As the name suggests, there are two things in this particular topic: the GST, that is Goods and Services Tax, with reference to Purchase Return Book. In the next few minutes, we are going to talk first what GST is, what is Purchase Return Book, what all columns do we prepare in the Purchase Return Book with GST entries, what are the reasons for purchase returns, and finally we will take up few examples where we would learn how to actually record transactions which pertains to GST and Purchase Return Book. So I hope you would be with me for next few minutes. You are open to raise questions. In case you have, I would be more than happy to answer any question. So moving forward, let's talk about what GST is. As the name suggests, GST is Goods and Services Tax, right? So the Goods and Services Tax is levied on the goods and services being sold or purchased. In this particular topic, we are concerned about the purchases which are which we made and we returned. So on the purchases, input GST is involved, right? So our input GST column is involved when purchases are made, and when the sales are made, then output GST is involved, right? So the first category of GST is input or output. Input is always concerned with purchases, output is always concerned with sales, right? So it means we are not going to talk about output CGST or SGST or anything. We are going to talk about input here. Input, basically we get input credit on the purchases we make for our business. If we consume the purchases in our business, we get the credit even. So friends, under these two primary category, as I said, we are going to talk about only the input GST. Within GST, there are 3 categories, and those categories are based on who is going to get the share of the tax collected or tax paid, basically. So the tax involved here is shared with the government, which is central government and the state government. If my transaction which of purchase involves, I am purchasing something, I am a business and I am purchasing something. What are the possibilities? 2 possibilities. I am purchasing from a company which is based in the same state from where I am operating from, right? And the second possibility is that I am purchasing from a company which is based in some other state, right? So understanding of this particular backdrop is very important, because this is what is going to decide that who will have the share on the tax GST, which is GST in consideration. So if I am purchasing from a company which is based in the same state I am operating from, then the GST is going to be divided equally between the center and the state. So the tax which goes to center is known as CGST, Central Goods and Services Tax, and the tax which goes to state is known as State Goods and Services Tax, so SGST, right? And the tax which involved when the transaction is interstate. Let's say somebody is based in, let's say in Maharashtra, selling to somebody in Karnataka. So there are 2 states involved. In that case, the tax which is being involved here in the Purchase Return Book or in the purchases would be basically, it would be interstate tax and the whole tax goes to center, right? So basically some tax is divided between the tax between the state and center when the transaction is intrastate, and when the transaction is interstate, then only the central is benefited, because the tax benefit goes to central, and we call it as IGST, interstate, so we call it as IGST. So now coming to the next thing, that what is a purchase return book. So once we have a clarity on goods and services tax, so I shall be talking about purchase return book. This purchase return book is also known as actually returns outward book. Why? Because I am as a company, I am returning something out of the purchases I had made. All right. So only those transactions which were on credit. This is a essential. This is a must, that only those purchases which were on credit, out of those purchases, if something is returned, then that is going to be recorded in the book known as purchase return book. So the question which may come to your mind is, what if somebody is returning something out of the purchases which were made on cash? So friends, please note down, such purchases which were made on cash, and out of that if we are returning something, we are not going to show that in the purchase return book, right? Because purchase return book is a special purpose book, is a subsidiary book which will record only those transactions which were on credit, and out of the purchases on credit, some part of this is returned. All right. And when we return something in the purchase return book, we write a note which is known as debit note. A debit note is prepared and is been sent to the person who sold you, right? So the person who is selling, in his books he will give you credit note. He will write a credit note, and you will send a note to the person who sold you, and the note which you write would be known as debit note, right? I have seen people confuse all the time that what is debit note, what is credit note. So debit note, if you can try to understand, if you have purchased, you have purchased from somebody, he was seller. So seller is giving you credit for something. Why he is giving you credit? Because you have returned something out of what you purchased. Because in his books, you were debtor. You were supposed to pay him in future. So your payments were, let's say, for 1 lakh rupees in total, which he was expecting. And out of those 1 lakh sales he made to you, so which his sales means your purchase, right? So there should not be any confusion. So out of the 1 lakh sales of some other company to you and for you as a purchase, you are returning something, let's say 12,000 goods worth 12,000 to him. So he would be giving you credit note, because you as a company, you were a debtor in his books of accounts. In your books of account, you are creditor, because you have made purchases on credit, right? So out of the purchases you made on credit, you are returning something. So that is why he will give you a credit, and you would be writing a note which would be a debit note in your books of account, because your books of accounts are independent from his books of account. You both are two separate entities. His company is, or his business is, a separate legal entity. Your company, your business is a separate legal entity, right? So there should not be any confusion. Now the debit note is nothing basically. It's a statement which says that you owe me this much. You are telling somebody, hey company, hey gentleman, see, you owe me this much, because I owe you 1 lakh, but out of that I have returned something. So that is that much amount you owe me now. So you better adjust this debit note and give me credit in your books, so that in your books the amount of debtor goes down. So this is the whole story. Okay. Now this purchase return book actually doesn't work as an account. In most of the scenarios, it is assumed that subsidiary books we need not to make an account, which is wrong. This assumption, this perception is wrong. It's only one subsidiary book, which is the cash book, for which cash book and the bank book, right? The bank account and the cash account is not opened in the ledger book when any cash book is maintained in the subsidiary books, a special purpose book. Whereas if we are talking about the purchase return book, we need to create a purchase return account. So the next question comes in, when do we do so? So it will depend upon your accounting period. So the accounting period, let's say I am keeping as a 1 month, and most of the businesses, they do actually keep 1 month duration for their purchase return book or their sales return book, right? So in the subsidiary book, let's say if I am keeping my purchase return book on monthly basis, so at the end of the month, let's say for the March month, I have 20 transactions. So I will record all the 20 transactions in my purchase return book, which I have returned to the seller for any of the reasons. Reason could be anything. I will record them, and at the end of the month of March, which is 31st March, I will record the total amount of the returns for the month of March, and I will transfer this amount to purchase return account, right? So this is how we do. The next question is that those individuals account X, Y, Z. So if I have made 20 returns, all those 20 accounts will be opened on daily basis. So the day I make a purchase return and I record it in my book, because in the purchase return book I am recording on chronological basis, date wise, right? So the very same day I will open up the account of the company or of the person whom I am returning in my ledger book, but the purchase return account will be open only at the end of the month if I am keeping the books on monthly basis, right? So I hope you could differentiate between the two. Ledger of individuals, company or individual proprietors to whom we are returning would be made on daily basis, and the ledger account for purchase return account, it would be made on the closing of the accounting period, right? So the question comes in, what are the reasons, probable reasons for purchase returns? There could be many reasons. The first could be that my goods were defective, they were damaged, and that is why I am returning. I received goods on time, but I received them in a bad shape, so I am returning it. It's a justifiable reason. Another reason could be that my goods were delivered to me but not on time. I was expecting to use them in my production. My production assembly line was waiting for that, but I didn't receive the good on time. So I am basically going to return it, because I probably not going to deliver those goods further to the buyer. For my goods there could be future buyers, right? I am producing for somebody. I am producing to sell somebody. So I was planned to use the raw material in my production, and that raw material I received little late, right? And my order got cancelled. So if my order got cancelled because of the delay in my delivery, and my reason of delay is because my raw material is delivered late, so certainly I would be returning back the goods. Another reason could be, the specifications are not matching. There's a variation whatever I order and whatever I get, and this is what we experience on daily basis. We tend to buy from online e-commerce site, and many a times I have seen my friends, my family members returning goods. Even I have returned in person for times, because whatever I order, I either don't get the size same, or my color is not same, specifications are different, so we tend to return it. Another thing could be, your quality or the quantity doesn't match with the invoice. You ordered for X number, you receive Y number. So you are returning it. Your invoice could be of more value or less value. So you are returning it. Then there could be some breach of trust. Breach of trust means you had an agreement with the seller, right? You have purchased from somebody who is seller to you, right? So the seller, you told the seller that you never disclose that I am buying this particular component from you. This is more true for scientific instruments, for chemicals, for drug manufacturing companies, pharmaceutical companies, because they are maybe developing some patented good or patented product. So in that case, they don't assume, they don't want you to disclose the purchase made from them. So there could be NDA, non-disclosure agreement between you and the company who sold to you, right? So you would have that agreement, but company somehow has disclosed to the competitor or to general market. So there you would have the clause applicable that there is a breach of trust and you would like to return the purchases made from them. In that case, the complete purchases could be returned actually. In most of the other cases, it could be only partial purchases which are returned. But in case of breach of trust, the whole lot of purchase is subject to be returned, right? This would be of course the prerogative of the purchaser, but it is subject to be returned. The last reason could be that there is no match of specification at all, so which is almost the same thing which we discussed earlier. Now we are going to take up a small case. So this case says prepare return outward book from the following information in the books of Comfort Shoes, Kolkata. So the name of the company which we are actually going to prepare the book for is Comfort Shoes, right? So and please read carefully where are they based. They are based in Kolkata, West Bengal. They say assuming CGST 6% and SGST 6%. All right. So on January 5th, returned to Sonata Shoe Company, Kolkata, 600 pairs of chappals being not up to the approved sample at the rate of 50 pair unless there was a discount of 20%. So 600 pair of chappals and the value was 50 each. It means how much? So 30,000 less 20% discount, less 20% of 30,000 means 6,000. So we will take it up in the solution now. So let's go to the solution part. Look at the slide which shows you the format. The format is we have the date column, we have particulars column, right? Then we have this debit note number, ledger folio, then this details are there, and after the details we have purchase returns amount in total, and then we have CGST, SGST and IGST. So in all the cases this is input and the last column is total, right? So this is the format. So we are going to put the name of the first in the date. We are putting the date. The date was January 5th. The name of the company is Sonata Shoe Company, which is based in Kolkata. So the U as a fancy company, fancy shoe company is also based in Calcutta, and the company to whom you are returning is also based in Calcutta. So this is a case of intrastate transaction. So we will write in the detail column 500 pairs of chappals at the rate of 60 per pair. So 30,000 total amount, less trade discount of 20%. So 6,000. So your net amount which is liable for taxation is 24,000, right? On this 24,000 you will calculate 6%, which comes out to be 1,440. So your total transaction 24,000 plus this 14,040 CGST and 14,040 SGST becomes your 26,880, right? So if you carefully note, this input CGST column has the 1440 amount, this input SGST column has 1440 amount in total, and the last column, which is the total amount, has 28,880, right? So which comprises taxation on the net value, not on the gross value. Your gross transaction was 30,000. After the trade discount of 6,000, your net value is 24,000. So the rate of taxation is calculated on the net return value. So it means you have availed the discount in the past, right? And now you are returning. So of course we will first adjust the discount. Out of 30,000 we will subtract the discount of 6,000, and thereafter we will calculate 6%, which is coming out to be 1440 CGST, which is input CGST, and similar amount, same amount 6% of SGST, which is again input SGST. Nothing will be put in the input IGST, right? Interstate goods and service tax. It will be vacant, it will be blank, and the last column has the total amount of the transaction, right? So coming to the second transaction now. So the second transaction was on January 10th. It says returned to Saluja Shoe and Company, Kolkata, 200 pairs of ladies chappal at the rate of 50 each. So 200 into 50 means my transaction is for 10,000, right? And to whom are we returning to? We are returning to Saluja Company, Shoe Company. Are they based in the same state? Answer is yes. They are based in the West Bengal state, right? So this is a interstate or intrastate transaction. This is a intrastate transaction. So whenever you are attempting some such question, please always question yourself. The first thing in your mind should come in, am I dealing with a transaction which is interstate or intrastate? This is the most important thing when you are doing any transaction, any recording, any bookkeeping for GST, right, for taxation. So the first and the foremost question to be answered is, which state the transaction, where are these two parties based in? They both are based in the same state or someone is from the other state, right? So that's what the answer we got in this question, in this statement. Saluja Shoe Company is based in Kolkata, right? So this is the first thing. It means what is applicable? It means CGST and SGST is applicable, not the IGST is applicable. IGST would have been applicable if this Saluja Company would have been in some other state, okay? So in the my detailed columns, 200 pair of shoes will go, ladies chappals will go at the rate of 50 per pair. So the total amount of 10,000 less 15% discount, which will come out to be 1,500, right? So my total discount would be 1,500. That's how I will take this up to the solution to my sales to my purchase return book. So let's have a look at this slide. So in the particulars, we are going to put the name of the company, Saluja Shoe Company. That's what we did. In the detail, we are putting 10,000 amount, right? So further we are writing 200 pairs of ladies chappals at the rate of 50 each, right? 10,000 is the amount which is there in the detail column. On that we are charging 15% trade discount. We are subtracting 1,500 in total. So 8,500 is the net amount, right, which is subject to taxation. So our CGST and SGST 6% each would be calculated on 8,500, not on your 10,000, okay? So I shall be charging your 8,500, 6% of 8,500, which comes out to be 510, right? So 510 CGST, 510 SGST, they will go into the input CGST and input SGST column, and the total amount would be 9,520, right? So my total amount 9520 goes to my total column, which is basically no value, no transaction of involving input IGST. Only both the transaction will go two heads, input CGST and input IGST, SGST, sorry. So 510 each. So that's how this transaction has been dealt with, right? So this second transaction was also within the state. Now I will talk about the last transaction which has happened on January 15th. It says we returned to Freedom Shoe Company, Ranchi, based in Jharkhand, the goods worth 5,000 and they were defective. So there's no reason given in this case, no trade discount being given, right? So how we deal with this? In such situation, if we have no trade discount, our total taxation would be subcharged on the net gross value. Here the gross value and the net value becomes same. It is the same amount, right? So if you read it carefully, in the particulars column, we are writing the name of the company, and the name of the company was Freedom Shoe Company, right? So the Freedom Shoe Company, it is based in Ranchi. So we are writing returned shoes, defective shoes. So only the amount of the shoes is given 5,000, and we are charging IGST 12% on this 5,000, which becomes 600. So my total of this 12% of 5,000 means 600. So my total of the deal of the transaction is 5,600. So out of 5,600, 5,000 goes to return column, purchase return column, and 600 goes to the third column of taxation, which is input IGST, right? So thus the total transaction for the month of January for returns are 37,500 without taxation. After that, the total CGST is 1,950, total your SGST is 1,950, and total of IGST is 600. So this is how we have 42,000 total amount of the transaction for the month of January for which we returned, right? As a purchase manager, I would be analyzing it first. After that, my general manager would be interested to know the reasons. My purchase guy is especially interested because I am purchasing from somebody and I need to return, means because of the goods were not delivered on time, they were defective, or there was a breach of trust. Whichever the reason could be, it really caused me inconvenience, isn't it? It does. It does cause the inconvenience. It does delay the production. It does delay your good. It does cause the bad name in your goodwill, because you were supposed to sell somebody, you were producing for somebody, and you were supposed to utilize this material which you purchased in your production or in your services, right? So this is a complete cycle. It doesn't stop here. It is not only that I returned X amount of purchases. No, because you are purchasing for somebody for some reason, your business is entirely, the value chain is affected, right? So purchase manager should be analyzing the reason. He should be deciding, should we continue with the same supplier, same seller in future or not, and thereafter there should be some corrective measure for future and efficiency. So I hope you could get an idea with this within few minutes only, that what is CGST, SGST, IGST when it comes to purchase return book, and how do we record in the book, and this total amount of 42,000 will be transferred to purchase return account at the end of January, that is 31st January, right? So I tried my level best to help you understand these few things, which was the target of the topic. So thank you very much for being with me. Thank you.